Behind Harley Davidson's corporate image enhancement, Ken Schmidt has a remarkable story to tell. His marketing firm, BSA Partners in Chicago, provides strategic brand management and communications consultation to household name companies like Coca-Cola, Compaq, Kodak, and of course, Harley Davidson. One of the most sought-after speakers in the world, he offers a fascinating glimpse into the inner workings of the American advertising industry. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ken Schmidt.
The motorcycle is not just a piece of metal. It has a soul, it has a feeling, it has a spirit.
When things get really nasty, just go out and get the bike out and let the wind whistle through your teeth, and it feels good.
There's only one thing that sounds better than a Harley, and that's two Harleys.
No ride like it. No ride like it.
It's a freedom thing with the open road, the wind, the motorcycle.
The chrome, the style, sound,
The vibration.
the balance of the bike.
Words can't explain it.
Nothing feels like a Harley.
My grandparents immigrated from Kansas to Colorado on an old Harley Davidson in 1920. So it goes back forever.
There's only one bike, and it's a Harley, plain and simple.
And this feeling, I can't describe.
I'm in a hurry. To the House of Representatives. Ride like fury. If you run out of gas, get Ethel. If Ethel runs out, get Mabel. Now step on it.
What happened? I stopped, but you didn't. But we won! We won! We won!
Hey, somebody tell me what that means, BRMC. What does it mean?
Black Rebels Motorcycle Club.
Isn't that cute? Hey, Johnny, what are you rebelling against?
What do you got?
Just what is it that you want to do?
Well, we want to be free. We want to be free to do what we want to do. We want to be free to ride. And we want to be free to ride our machines without being hassled by the man.
This is what makes this company great. And these rides are what the lifestyle's all about, what you're witnessing here. And it's what makes us tick.
Yeah. Is this the plumbers convention? Am I in the right hall? No. How's everybody doing? Oh, no. You're going to have to do a lot better than that. We got a Harley man in the house. How's everybody doing? Hey, there we go. Got any motorcyclists in the crowd? How many Harley owners we got? Oh, we're gonna fix that. We're gonna work on that. Tell you what, I left my house on Friday at about 7 a.m. with 4 friends riding our motorcycles down. And if you look at the map, the distance between Milwaukee and Nashville is probably about 550 or 600 miles. Yet somehow the odometer showed over 900 when we got here. Don't you hate when that happens? Should have been a 12-hour ride. Took about 3 days. Couldn't decide which bike to ride down. I decided to bring this one down. It's about 12 years old. Looks brand new though, doesn't it? I got some friends that are a lot bigger than I am, trust me. The bike ran great, the bike sounded great. Do we like the sound of Harley Davidson motorcycles? Does that sound like America? Like freedom? Absolutely. You want to know where that sound comes from? Can I share a little secret with you? Ready for no extra charge for this. The sound that you hear from a Harley Davidson motorcycle is the 3-syllable exhaust note created by a 45-degree V-twin engine with an offset crank pin. Yeah. What happened? I just explained to you what it was and you didn't get it. I communicated, right? Told you what it was, but we didn't connect. Folks, that's marketing, that's corporate America. So we're going to talk about today. A lot of communicating that doesn't connect. And that's some of the stuff that we're going to talk about today. But since you didn't know what the offset crank pin was and how it works, I'm going to explain it to you. This is going to be a little interactive exercise for you this morning. Let's say we went out into the parking lot right now and brought in an imported motorcycle. Name one. Honda. Everybody wants to pick on Honda, and so do I, so let's do it. If we brought that Honda in here and took the motor apart, or cut it right down the middle with a chainsaw, which would be a lot of fun, what we'd see inside that motor, pistons, maybe 2, maybe 4, right? We all know what pistons are. Connected with piston rods, going down to the flywheel. The pistons move up and down, drives the flywheel, turns the crank, the back wheel turns, right? We would see that those pistons go up and down in absolutely perfect harmony, wouldn't they? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Do we know that sound? All right, what I need everybody to do is stand up. Stand up. I'm speaking English here. We all stand now, right on cue. I see some people that aren't standing. We can't learn if we don't do this. All right, now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a ride now on an imported motorcycle. Well, what you do is put your hands straight out in front of you. Get your feet close together. Now, without bending your knees, lean as far forward as you can. If you're not feeling it up the back of the thighs, you're not doing it right. Now, when I count to 3, I want everybody to go da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Well, that was fun, right? No wonder Honda can't sell any bikes. Okay. And I noticed that not a one of you put your helmet on, and this is a helmet law state. I feel about now, let's say we were to take this motor apart. But obviously without the chainsaw, we'd do it very, very carefully. And what we'd find inside are 2 absolutely enormous pistons. Right cylinder heads the size of manhole covers, big honking cylinders, big pistons, big heavy-duty piston rods connected to a flywheel with the crank pin, instead of being directly in the center of that flywheel, it's offset. It's a little up and to the left. Now, what does that do? Instead of going da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, it creates a 3-syllable exhaust note. Ba-dum-bum, ba-dum-bum. And if you listen real closely to the sound of a Harley Davidson motorcycle, and I promise you, you will all do, if you learn nothing else today, this is entirely possible, this you'll remember. Every Harley Davidson motorcycle speaks to you in plain English. 3-syllable word, potato. Potato, potato. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take a ride on a Harley Davidson motorcycle with a 45-degree V-twin engine with the offset crank pin. Open your legs. I never get to say that, but I'm saying it now. Just being honest. Okay. Bounce a little bit, just a little bit. Make sure your legs are loose. This guy here's not doing it. Camera guy, get it. There we go. Make him feel better. Now get your arms out at your side. We all have our helmets on, of course, don't we? Yes. Now, when I say count to 3, I want everybody to say potato, 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 but as low and guttural as mean sounding as you possibly can. On 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Potato, potato. Louder. You're being videotaped. How would you like to be arriving at this meeting right now? All right. Okay, you can all sit down now. I promise not to embarrass you any further, and hopefully won't embarrass myself any further. We're obviously here to talk about Harley Davidson motorcycles. Without a doubt, the strongest motorcycle brand on the planet, one of the strongest brands in any industry in the universe. A very, very successful company. And there's a lot of ways to measure success. Some of my favorites are the fact that in over 100 countries throughout the world, demand for Harley Davidson motorcycles has far outweighed supply every year since 1989. People will stand in line, wait in line, anywhere from 6 months to as long as 3 or 4 years for the privilege of owning one of these American-made machines. The average customer will spend thousands of dollars above suggested retail price for the privilege of owning one. Quick show of hands, when's the last time you paid thousands of dollars above retail for anything? Anybody? Where's our golfers? It's not really rational. Another great show of success. 94% of Harley Davidson customers surveyed this year say they fully intend to purchase another one. That's purchase, re-intent, or that's repurchase intent. The tobacco companies, the beer companies, the soda companies would kill for. 94%. The other 6%, what happened? Oh, they didn't understand the question. That's what. Oh, come on, that was a joke. Help me out here. Here's another little measure of success. Had you, or if we could all right now go back in time to the year 1987, pull out our checkbooks, buy $10,000 worth of Harley Davidson stock. I keep hitting that button and I shouldn't. Buy $10,000 worth of Harley Davidson stock, it'd be worth $1.6 million today. Wow. That's why I no longer work for a living. Just kidding. I kid, really. All right, another question for you, since I've had the slide up for 5 minutes. When's the last time you felt so strongly about a company, a product, a company that you work for, a company that you own, that you went out and had the name tattooed onto your body? Is that normal? You ever do that? I've been all around the world. I've seen millions of people. I've seen hundreds of thousands of tattoos. I've yet to see one that says Kentucky Fried Chicken or Burger King. It just doesn't happen. The very fact that a Harley Davidson customer is willing to express his or her loyalty for the brand by having it permanently branded onto their body is a truly incredible testament of faith in the brand, happiness and ownership of the brand, and pride. What I'd like to do, since we don't have a whole lot of time together, is blast through several decades of history in about a minute and a half. See if we can do it so I can set this up for you. It's kind of important to understand the history of the company so you can see how it got to the point where it's at today. And most of you here know that for several years, in fact, not too long ago, as early as 1985, in fact, Harley Davidson was in huge trouble. In fact, my first job at Harley Davidson was to put the communication plan together to file for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Hey, honey, I got a new job, and guess what my first job is? Yeah, that went over great. All right, let's do some quick history. If you get interested in Harley Davidson history, by the way, there's a zillion books on it, harleydavidson.com. You can find it all there, but this is how it all started. A little 10 by 15-foot shed in the Davidson family's backyard in Milwaukee, Wisconsin in 1903. 3 Davidson brothers and their pal, Bill Harley, put a motor on a bicycle, and there you have it, Harley Davidson motorcycle. Quickly gained a reputation for reliability that caught the attention of the U.S. Army. Next slide, please. There we go. Little known fact, the first American to enter Germany after the armistice in World War II did so on a Harley Davidson motorcycle, a Harley Davidson military bike. And if you see the guy up on the horse, can you see him there? This isn't documented, but we believe what he's saying there is, yeah, offset crank pin, cool. The jokes just keep coming, don't they? Anything that could be delivered in America was delivered by motorcycle. Ice cream, groceries, automotive parts, even some funeral homes picked up their clientele on Harley Davidson motorcycles. What do you think about it? That's a pretty cool way to go out. By the late teens, early 1920s, there were over 155 companies in America building motorcycles. Sears made them, Montgomery Ward's, all the bicycle companies. But the track was the proving ground because this was the first place in the world where land-based vehicles could travel in speeds in excess of 100 miles an hour, which quickly caught the attention of bootleggers who began running booze and money with motorcycles because the cops couldn't catch them, which is a great thing for Harley Davidson because that created a whole new marketplace, the police market. So we go out and catch these guys. Now, Harley Davidson is today the most respected police motorcycle worldwide. You gotta admit, it's kind of cool to get pulled over by a cop on a Harley, isn't it? The tight pants, that whole, no? Maybe more about me than you need to know. Okay. Before I talk about this slide, I want to say one. 2 motorcycle companies out of the 155 survived the Depression. Harley Davidson and a company out of Springfield, Massachusetts called India. And what allowed those 2 companies to survive when over 150 didn't was the police and military contracts. So thank an officer, thank a vet, and thank you, vets out there. Every Harley Davidson motorcycle built during World War II was built to supply the war effort. There were no civilian motorcycles sold. Anybody ask, why did we win the war? You just show them this picture and say, simple, who the hell would want to see that coming? Post-war, a glorious time for motorcycling in America. GI's coming back. The economy is ripe. People are spending money, getting out on the road, enjoying life, and Harley Davidson and Indian were the only 2 players there. Had the doors wide open, selling motorcycles like crazy. But in 1953, Indian went out of business. Closed the door, couldn't keep up, forgot that the customer was the one who would ultimately drive the business, not the leadership of the company. That left Harley Davidson with a virtual monopoly in 1954. Can you say 100% market share? Right on. How'd you like to have 100% market share? Then something really bizarre happened. Something that nobody could have ever planned for, but if it didn't happen, I probably wouldn't be here. 1947, town of Hollister, California. A group of motorcyclists got together for a day of racing, a day of fun, and that night they all rode into town, presumably for some soft drinks and finger sandwiches. Somebody had the idea to take this picture. Let's take this big, thuggish-looking guy, prop him up on a bike, shove a bunch of beer bottles under, take a picture and send it into Life magazine. Well, Life magazine runs this picture with a headline that says, "Outlaw bikers invade California town." And within days, newspapers across the country are reporting on these roving bands of chain-swinging, beer-guzzling, leather-wearing outlaw bikers. Was it true? Not really, no. But guess what? The public wanted to believe it, didn't they? You all believed it here, didn't you? Harley Davidson today is now, and will ever be associated with a motorcycle club originally started in California that's called oh, shame on you. Why? Because we wanted to believe that. That's what the public wanted to believe. And you know what? 99% of Americans were repulsed by this kind of imagery. They see the motorcyclists coming, people would be scared, they'd roll their windows up, restaurants would turn motorcyclists away for fear that they were outlaws. The common citizen on a Harley Davidson became viewed with suspicion, was seen as somebody different, somebody mysterious, and that continues to this day. We all know, though, that the real riders of that period are more likely to look like this guy, young Nelson Potter. Here's a little more key learning at no extra cost. If you're ever trying to market your way out of a bad reputation, don't do it this way. And another little bonus. If you ever decide that you're going to ride a Harley Davidson motorcycle with a suit on and white socks and loafers, it's much faster, easier, cheaper, and efficient to just go out and buy a shirt that says, "Punch me." The results, trust me, will probably be, just kidding. There is no violence in the motorcycle community. Okay. Where is it? Enter the 1960s, the single greatest era for motorcycling in history. Harley Davidson introduces the Electroglide for long-distance riding. Husbands and wives, families could go out and ride together. Does that bike look even remotely familiar? That's the grandfather of this motorcycle that I rode down here. Notice the incredible resemblance. So now motorcycling was seen as something a little bit mysterious, but also something that moms and dads, the families could do together, friends could do together, and go out over long distances for weekends or weeks at a time. Something else amazing happened during this period. Honda, Yamaha, Kawasaki, and Suzuki all enter the U.S. market. Is that a bad thing? A wonderful thing. Because you see, Harley Davidson was manufacturing and selling large, heavyweight motorcycles. Hogs. Imported motorcycles are very small, very lightweight, very, very affordable, very, very reliable, and they sold millions of them. Harley Davidson measured units in tens of thousands. The imported companies measured them in millions. Advertised like crazy on TV. Every neighborhood was full of step-through motorcycles. Remember the Spree and the Spirit and all those great imported Japanese motorcycles. Wonderful time for Harley Davidson because it introduced all these people to motorcycling. And the people who got serious about it and wanted to trade up, Harley was right there with its arms wide open. And that was great for several years. All through the 1960s, Harley Davidson sold as many motorcycles as it could build, which would ultimately become its Achilles heel. Because Harley Davidson was building motorcycles faster and faster and faster to keep up with demand. In 1969, fully maxed out in capacity, Harley Davidson agrees to be purchased by a company called AMF. Where's our bowlers? Watch, not a single hand will go up. What AMF was about was engineering and making money. Not enthusiasts, per se, not interested in the sport or the lifestyle of motorcycling, but they saw Harley Davidson as a profitable business and wanted to take advantage of that. So through the 1970s, as motorcycle demand is continuing to grow, and under AMF investing a lot of plants, Harley Davidson's building more and more motorcycles and still can't keep up. Began telling employees, we got to work faster. Got to work faster, got to crank more product out. And slowly, but surely, and very, very steadily, product quality began to decline. And decline and decline. And for several years, that was okay because the customer base out there, remember, that's the person that you're seeing in your mind right now, the guy with the tattoo out there, was loyal enough to the brand and loyal enough to an American-made product that they would overlook those quality shortcomings in exchange for owning the Harley Davidson motorcycle. The motorcycle press became merciless, that Harley Davidson motorcycles could no longer be trusted. And by saying that, they were also saying that Harley Davidson, the motor company, couldn't be trusted. Honda begins importing heavyweight motorcycles into America, and suddenly Harley Davidson has dead-on competition. Bikes with the same engine size, selling for less than half the cost of a comparable Harley Davidson with questionable quality. Harley Davidson's market share starts to drop very, very quickly because for the customer out there who was shopping with his wallet on the left side of his brain instead of his heart, this is a no-brainer. They were buying the imported motorcycles. Harley Davidson's market share begins dropping precipitously. Sure, you all remember the early 1980s, interest rates suddenly spike up into the mid-teens. People stopped buying motorcycles. Harley Davidson's in big trouble. The whole industry's in a downturn. AMF puts Harley Davidson up for sale and can't find any buyers. Couldn't find any buyers for a company that was in a depressed industry, that had a very richly deserved reputation for poor quality, that was hemorrhaging red ink, and had a very undeserved reputation for pandering to outlaw biker gangs. Would you buy that company? Don't you wish you had? 13 members of Harley Davidson's management team who believed in the power of the institution, the fact that there were people out there that were passionate enough about the brand to have it physically branded onto their bodies, and if we could take that passion that exists for the product outside and bring it inside the company, we could make a go of it. But the mood of that company internally at that time was not good. 40% of the workforce had been laid off, tremendous distrust, unions going on strike, a nasty, nasty time to be buying a company. Let's take a quick look here. 1983 was the all-time low. All-time low market share. Market share had dropped, remember, from virtually just under 100%. You know, there were some bikes being sold from Europe still at that point. A company was spurting ready. Market share dropped from 100% down to 23%. The Japanese companies had come in and, in fact, passed Harley Davidson. The company wasn't bleeding red ink. It was spurting. You got showered with it as you walked in the door. The poor quality reputation and the reputation for pandering to outlaw biker gangs. And as much as we protested about the fact that Harley Davidson riders are no different than the people that live next door, the public chose not to believe it. And why? Because people react to and remember and react emotionally to what they see. And what did people see at that time? They'd read in the paper Harley Davidson trying to say that we're a good American company, but then they would stop at the truck stop and they'd see Harley Davidson's logo on things like Coke spoons and drug paraphernalia. Where's our drug users? Anybody remember these? Just testing. Now, obviously, Harley Davidson didn't approve of that or make any money off that. Those people doing that out there on their own, but people would see that, and people saw a lot of it. Not offensive enough? How about Nazi stuff, racist stuff, with your corporate symbol on it? Imagine that. How about pornography? T-shirts. You like to see some? I said, everybody looks at the screen. He's going to do it. That's what people saw. So no matter the public face that we tried to put out, people react to what they saw and experienced. People react to what they see and experience. When we talk about the success of Harley Davidson, that's two things right now that stand as the pillars of that. So let's go forward a little bit. Mid-'80s, declining market, all these problems. How are we going to fix this? We're going to walk through that right now. I'll tell you what Harley Davidson did to right itself. But what I want to say right now, I'm going to be very, very clear and very, very honest about this. Virtually everything you're going to see from now going forward are pleasant accidents. There's no huge strategy to make this stuff happen. What we did is we reinvented the workplace in a way of doing business that allowed us to take a lot of risks, and several of them paid off. There was no big crew of Harvard MBAs in directing this, telling Harley Davidson to do what it did. So much of what we learned through the process of doing this, I promise you, is applicable to every portion of your business. And it's also applicable to the way you live your life. First thing Harley Davidson does, and this is really radical, says we got to go out and talk to our customers and find out what they want. That was a kind of a bold, almost like market research. Harley had never done that. Say, hey, Mr. Motorcyclist, what could we do for you to make you like us better and to buy our product? And you know what he said? What a surprise. He said, give me a motorcycle that's well made, that won't fall apart, that won't leak oil, that won't break down, and that won't embarrass me, and it's something I can be proud of. What he didn't know, he was back at the company. The engineers, the draftsmen, the designers, and the manufacturing guys were re-engineering the motorcycles from the ground up. That resulted in 1984 in a watershed introduction of the motor that's on this motorcycle right here, the 1340cc Evolution motorcycle. Absolutely on par with anything coming out of Japan or Europe. We put these motors on motorcycles 6 months in advance of the public launch, sent them out to the motorcycle press. They raved. Headlines came out. The best motorcycles being built are now being built in America. The best motors, the best powertrains, the best motorcycles. And man, we pulled out the cigars and the brandy and waited for the customers to storm back in. And waited, and waited, and nobody came, and nobody saw, and nobody bought, despite the fact that this was the best motorcycle being made anywhere. Still hemorrhaging red ink. Dealers still very, very angry with the motor company at the total lack, the breakdown of whatever trust had existed. The net result of that was you can't fix it with just good product. Good product will only take you so far. Right? And Harley Davidson's living proof of that. So now we're getting desperate. Now we're getting really desperate. We come up, all the internal meetings at Harley Davidson, we talk about, boy, if we could just get people on these things, if they would just ride it and see for themselves what a superior product it is, what a great experience it is, and how much fun it is to ride it. And at that time in the motorcycle industry, there was no such thing as a test ride. You did not test a motorcycle. Your test ride was after you gave the dealer the check and rode it off the lot. Harley Davidson takes all of the money targeted for marketing and advertising. All of it. No advertising. No promotion programs. Go out and lease 2 semi-trucks, throw the Harleys on the back, and go out any place where there's motorcyclists likely to be present. Biker hangouts, the car plants in Detroit. Get the motorcycles out, people get on the motorcycle, take it for a 15-mile ride. And believe it or not, they all came back. None got stolen, but what was extraordinary was that as the people would get off the motorcycle, there'd be somebody standing there for manufacturing with a notepad. Maybe it was an engineer. What did you think of the ride? What did you think of the seat height? What did you think of the noise, the sound, the vibration? How did it feel? And they'd just be scribbling these notes down. Just seemed like the right thing to do. They would get back to work on Monday. Everybody would download those ideas and those suggestions coming through the field, and slowly but surely, the customer comments coming in off the demo program begin seeing themselves in product development and eventually appearing on motorcycles. And another thing, very, very extraordinary kind of dividend of this is that the employees that would come back after standing toe-to-toe with customers all weekend were just extraordinarily charged up. Very, very excited. Sure, they got beat up a lot, they heard a lot of really negative comments, but they also, for the first time, understood what their job was. I now know who I serve. I serve these people out here. If they're disappointed in me and what I'm doing. And other employees wanted to get involved. Other employees wanted to get out. A motorcycle magazine start writing about the fact that Harley Davidson is out trying to win customers back one at a time. Grassroots effort instead of the traditional marketing. Let's blanket the world with advertising and see if we could win hearts and minds back. So the culture begins getting skewed toward spending time with customers. So we say, well, how can we take advantage of that? Anybody here ever make the huge mistake of planning a family vacation in the Black Hills of South Dakota the first week of August in any of the last 60 years? Anybody? This event just ended on Sunday. For 60 years, motorcyclists have gathered in the small town of Sturgis, South Dakota. A town with a population of 7,000. Population typically swells to over 400,000 motorcyclists in one town for 1 week to hang out and ride motorcycles through the best roads in the country and enjoy lots of Diet Pepsi and have a great time. The overwhelming majority, well over 90% of people participating in this event ride Harley Davidson motorcycles. And Harley Davidson's approach then was, oh, we got this big event that's been happening for years, we got to go out there and have more of a physical presence. So what we do is we go out and looking back, you'll see just how really arrogant this was. Let's go out and we'll set a tent up, right, with the displays in there, a new product, and some clothes and T-shirts and stuff, and we'll wait for people to come in and see us. And sure, a lot of people did. But you know what? A lot of people didn't. So we started thinking about, well, geez, rather than waiting for people to come and talk to us so that we can win their hearts and minds back, and especially the people that were on competitive motorcycles, why don't we go out and more or less thrust ourselves upon the motorcycle community? Employees go out, make themselves visible with all these people out there, and start seeking and eliciting feedback from them. Well, how are we going to do that? See this shirt I'm wearing? What are the odds of seeing a purple button-down shirt at a motorcycle rally? Pretty much nil. Black T-shirts, or no shirts at all, kind of rule the roost at these gigs. Big, very, very visible artwork on the back that clearly identifies people wearing it as representatives and employees of Harley Davidson Motor Company. Let's go out and thrust ourselves upon motorcyclists and let them approach us. We'll approach them and find out what they want. This guy, note the shirt, blue shirt, button down. His name is Ray Dre. He's in motorcycle styling. And what Ray is doing is judging motorcycles at a custom bike show. Or so it would appear. What Ray is actually doing is blatantly, obviously, openly stealing ideas. Got his pen there, he's scribbling. The owners of those bikes will come up and say, what are you doing? And he say, I'm Ray, motorcycle designer, Harley Davidson. You've got a beautiful motorcycle. Immediately, the chest pops out. Hey, the guy from Harley thinks I got a cool bike. And Ray say, why did you change your mirror height? How did you change that front end? Where did you get those wheels? Who did this paint? Where do you get that color? Blatantly taking that idea and they go back into Milwaukee. That's what drives product design at Harley Davidson, what's happening in the street. Not a bunch of guys who think they understand the product better than the customer himself does doing it. Actually getting those ideas right off the street and getting that input. Starts to build, it's getting more and more exciting. Customers react really, really well to this. Employees love being out in that physical environment. How can we take this a step further? We stand back and we ask ourselves, what's better for a company in America to be doing this, trying to compete in a very, very competitive industry? Should we continue to try to do what most companies do, and that's talk at customers, communicate, right? Advertising and PR and newsletters and websites and all that, all of which are important and all of which have their place. But should we put our emphasis on talking at the marketplace or talking with them? And by now I'm pretty sure you know that based on what I've said so far, Harley Davidson chose the second track. We're going to go out and talk with our customers and develop that relationship and understand who they are and what they want. Anybody here ever make the mistake of planning a family vacation the first week of March in Daytona Beach, Florida in any of the last 60 years? Bike Week in Daytona, another huge gathering, but this, folks, is a multi-industry gathering. It's like a trade show. 500,000 motorcyclists in Daytona Beach, Florida, riding Japanese bikes, European bikes, and Harley Davidson motorcycles. An observation was made, an extraordinary observation at a Daytona Bike Week in the mid-1980s. The main expo hall is right across from the major hotel where most of the exhibitors would stay. And somebody observed up front that as the representatives from the import motorcycle companies arrived, they would arrive in limos and cabs, you know, suits on. You know, they jump out of the cab, somebody carry their bags, they go into the hotel. Faceless, invisible, harmless. The Harley Davidson crew arrives in Daytona absolutely filthy with road dirt, riding down from York, Pennsylvania, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin, in what is still winter, you know, in the northern part of the States. Bikes covered with crud, but the people down would see the yellow manufacturer plates on the back of the bikes and would follow them, and as people got off the bikes, they'd be high-fiving, taking pictures, hugging. The observation is, man, we have something that they don't have, that nobody else will have, and how can we take advantage of the fact that customers are starting to like us at a very personal level, and they want to spend time with us, they want to be with us because they know that we understand them better than the people that build product, the competitive product. How can we take that a step further? So the idea was fathered, or mothered, to form an affinity organization called the Harley Owners Group, or HOG for short. And this is, without question, one of the most successful marketing initiatives on the planet. Any company, in any industry, I'd love to see somebody top what's happened with HOG. HOG was originally formed, let's create a social club, a group where Harley Davidson employees and dealers and their personnel can get together with customers and have events. People will ride in, enjoy their motorcycles, enjoy the spirit and the camaraderie, exchange ideas, get to know each other a little bit better, and go home. It started out very, very small. A few events, maybe, you know, tied to a race, and maybe a few thousand people would show up. Today, there are 620 Harley Davidson dealerships in the United States. Each one of those 620 dealers sponsor a local chapter of Harley Owners Group. Social club meetings typically held on the physical grounds of the dealership, some as many as once a week. How'd you like to have your customers, your repeat customers, coming into your business at least once a week, where all of your salespeople, all of your employees know their customers on a first-name basis, and they're coming in and continuously seeing the flow of new products and new clothing and things that keep them excited and juiced up. And we thought, gee, what a great thing, because it's bringing our people together. And the rider out there, the HOG member, thought this is great because it gives me a reason to go out and ride my motorcycle and have fun. And therein lies the secret, one of the major secrets of Harley Davidson's success. Because you know what? I don't care who you are, how fat your wallet is, the color of your skin, your age, or the God that you pray to. When a group of Harley Davidson motorcycles go by, what do? You turn and look. And you know what else you do? You react. Something triggers. Oh my God, what's that? Or, wow, that's really cool. I wonder where those guys are going. I wonder if they beat anybody up lately. You know, all kinds of things that you react to. Think of the person on the imported motorcycle, or the person who's always wanted a motorcycle, who sees this going by and sees every head snapping and sees everybody looking. Planting a seed, isn't it? These are rolling billboards for the Harley Davidson motorcycling experience. People react to that. People like that. They get charged up by it. So it drives sales of Harley Davidson motorcycles. So now Harley Davidson motorcycles are starting to be seen as something cool and desirable. In the first half of the 1990s, the celebrities suddenly are riding Harley Davidson motorcycles. You know, Jay Leno, who doesn't know that he rides Harley Davidsons? And, you know, Patrick Swayze back when he had a career, and Malcolm Forbes when he was alive. What does this do? For the first time ever, it gets Mr. and Mrs. American public interested in Harley Davidson motorcycles. And people who would never, ever consider owning a bike, getting juiced up by seeing the bikes going by, seeing all this publicity, jump in their car and ride over to the Harley Davidson dealership on a Saturday morning. Is that a good thing? No. That wasn't a good thing. You want to know why? Harley Davidson retail environments for decades, and I'm sure you can remember these, were not the most pleasant places to be. A group of very, very passionate, very, very skilled mechanics in the back wrenching on bikes, maybe a wood floor, maybe a dirt floor, maybe a greasy concrete floor, a couple of boxes full of T-shirts, and that was it. And for some people that was okay because it met their expectations. They'd seen it before, knew that that was what to expect from Harley Davidson. But think of the new guy coming in. The guy who maybe had been at a Lexus dealership the year before, or bought a car, or, who goes to the mall once in a while, who knows what it's like to be treated at retail, who knows and appreciates a clean and well-lit environment. So we start sitting down with our dealers and saying, what we need to do is create a retail environment that isn't focused on meeting the expectations of the motorcycle community, but is based on meeting the expectations of all consumers of a retail environment. Things need to be merchandised, well displayed, well lit. Staff who understands the product and how the products are used, knows how to sell them, how to meet and greet people as they come in the door and make them feel comfortable and welcome. So you can imagine the fun of approaching Harley Davidson dealers who had just come off of several years of very, very dismal sales, who were having product literally jammed down their throats for years, and now we're saying, hey guys, what we need you to do, is invest hundreds of thousands or even, millions of dollars in your stores. How do you suppose they reacted to that? I'll give you a hint. If you were to put your hand up forward this way and start slowly wrinkling fingers down, I think you get the idea. I should also say, just because I want to be honest with you, that there were about 750 Harley Davidson dealers at that time. Remember a minute ago I said there are 620 now. Some didn't want to play. Did Harley Davidson force them out of business? No. The marketplace did, because people chose to shop in a better retail environment. Bang, we seeded a couple of dealers, went out and set up some dealerships, built them, merchandised them, re-energized them, well lit, great signage, to begin measuring what happens. What we began seeing is that these dealers are typically recoup the entire cost of the rebuild in less than 18 months. It's now much, much faster than that, but at this point it was 18 months. And the other dealers began getting excited about that. What, you mean I could sell a lot more parts, make more money if I make this investment? I'll make the investment. Dealers begin making the investment. Any of you who have been in a Harley Davidson dealership lately, the last 5 years or so, they're typically very, very beautiful places. And beyond that, they're what we call a destination. You go over here, to Boswell's in Nashville. Half the people that are in there are tourists who don't own motorcycles. They're in buying shirts, jackets, clothing. They want to make a little statement and have some fun. Also, the holiest of holy grails began showing up at Harley Davidson dealerships. Another one of those unexpected little dividends. Women. Women. 10 years ago, less than 2% of Harley Davidson customers, motorcycle owners, were women. It's now over 10%. And over 25% of the entry-level motorcycle Sportster sales go to women. Not because of a women's marketing program, because there isn't one, never was and never will be, but because we've created a retail environment where people feel comfortable. Go in and buy the shirts, the T-shirts. Maybe you've seen one. Tens of millions of these are sold every year. People become these walking billboards for Harley Davidson. They're also making a statement. This is who I am. This is how I want to be seen. I'm different. I'm like the offset crank pin on that bike. I put this shirt on, suddenly I'm making a different noise. Because you know what? Every American walks through life invisible. We all do. We don't walk down the street and everybody recognizes us like we're celebrities. Right? We're all invisible people. And deep down inside, we all want to be noticed. We love to be noticed. Those are the people out there who don't own motorcycles or wearing Harley Davidson T-shirts. Look at me, world. I'm a different person. I'm a mysterious person. What about kids? People just starting out in motorcycling? Some of you, perhaps? The average Harley Davidson customer is 46 years old and getting older every year. You know all about the aging demographic. That's old. The average owner of Japanese motorcycles is anywhere from 18 to 24. Huge gap. What are we doing to plant those seeds for tomorrow's customers? Families bring their kids into the dealership. They see the toys, the stuffed animals, They go to the Toys R Us or the Walmart, they see the licensed products for kids, and we physically imprint the Harley Davidson brand into their young brains. So that the 5-year-old girl riding this toy now, 20 years, 30 years, who knows when is going to buy a motorcycle, what kind of bike do you think she's going to buy? Because she has that warm, friendly respect and like for the Harley Davidson brand. Key point of learning throughout this process was that we didn't know what we were selling. We were selling the wrong stuff. We were moving iron for years. If you go back and look at Harley Davidson advertising, before all of this happened, everything was about price, defending the price of the motorcycle, the value, you know, the materials, the craftsmanship, the quality. And we talked to customers, and as we got intimate over the years, we found out that that's not what they were buying. They're not buying transportation. You'd have to be a complete boob to spend $15,000 or $20,000 for one of these things to get you from point A to point B. There's much cheaper ways to do that. It's not about transportation, it's about transformation. What does that mean? What Harley Davidson customers told us was that every reason for buying a motorcycle was completely irrational and on the right side of their brain. They were buying the overall experience and how it makes them feel. Remember I said we're all invisible people? You cannot be invisible on that motorcycle. I ride that motorcycle down. Every trucker looks. Every kid on every bus. Every kid in every car looks over and continuously. All the RVers giving you the thumbs up as you go by. They don't do that on imported motorcycles. Trust me, I've tried it. They don't look. Harley Davidson sells dreams. Everybody who owns a Harley Davidson motorcycle says, I always wanted one. Or I always wondered what it would feel like, or thought it would be cool to go out and make that noise and become somebody different for a while. Harley Davidson sells passion, the excitement. Ask any Harley Davidson owner about his or her lifestyle. They'll say that that motorcycle is the central focal point of their life. It is their most prized possession. If the wife says, honey, you know, it's me or that bike, it's going to be the bike. If the house payment or the bike payment, it's the bike. That's just the way it is. Harley Davidson customers are buying freedom. Freedom is for sale. You sell it too. Not just the freedom to go from point A to point B whenever you want to, but the freedom to be whoever you want to be and be somebody different and go out and explore and become a vagabond or a pirate for a while or do something different. We've all seen this. Monday through Friday, he's a dentist and he's in the Rotary Club and he's Mr. Clean Cut. Saturday morning, he gets up, puts his leather on, he doesn't shave that day, he rides his Harley around town, suddenly he's walking like this. Have you seen that? That's somebody exercising his freedom and his individuality. This is how I want to be seen. I want to be somebody else for a while. I like it when people look at me and react. I'm proud of that. That's what people are buying. Individuality. Every Harley Davidson motorcycle that's bought today is beautiful, coming right off the assembly line. And what does everyone do? They customize it and put all kinds of parts and accessories on their bike to make it different, to make a statement, to express their individuality, to stay loud and clear. Look at me. I am not like you. I'm different. I'm cool. And it obviously must be working because Harley Davidson's parts and accessories sales today are probably at least twice of what the entire corporate revenue was for all divisions of the company 10 years ago. People are out buying parts, accessories, customizing their bikes, and enjoying the experience. Click. Very popular Harley Davidson t-shirt has this slogan on the front. If I have to explain, you wouldn't understand. Any of you who own a motorcyclist have been through this. You probably go through the same thing, marketing and selling motorhomes, RVs. Unless you've actually been on a Harley Davidson motorcycle, and been out there in the morning on a Saturday morning, well, the grass is still wet, and you can smell the hay as you go out and ride, and see how everything surrounds you, and you escape, and you feel so wonderful, and everybody looks at you. You go down through winding mountain roads and smell that fresh scent of pine, and how good you feel as you do it. I can't explain that to somebody who's never done it. Or explain what it's like to feel the ground rumble when you're riding with thousands of people and completely shut a freeway system down with motorcycles to come in and celebrate a Harley Davidson event. I can't begin to explain how wonderful that feels to know that all eyes are on you. Or to find out after riding next to somebody for 50 miles when he takes his helmet off, you know, that it's actually her. That ain't all bad either. I can't explain that. And I'm sure that a lot of you, as you sit and look at all this stuff, go, oh, that's wonderful. You know, that certainly applies to Harley, but maybe that wouldn't work for me. Because you know what? We're not Harley Davidson, and we don't have people's names tattooed onto our body and people out wearing our clothes and standing in line for years to buy our product. I understand that. What we're going to talk about here going forward is the key lessons learned by Harley Davidson that I can promise you are applicable in your business. These are ones that I don't need to explain in order for you to understand. First of all, if you're going to make any kind of commitment within your business, and this is the most obvious of all of them, any kind of commitment to being better communicators, to growing a marketplace, to creating a cultural change, to understanding your customers, whatever that is, the most visible player involved in that has to be the person at the top. And we all know that, and we've all heard that, and there's 8 zillion very, very boring business books written about this fact. This cat here on the bike, gentlemen I had the great, great honor of serving under is Rich Teerlink, recently retired CEO and chairman of the board, Harley Davidson Motor Company, a finance guy. If you could believe a finance guy could run a company like this, absolutely. Absolutely. We love finance guys, don't we? Yes, come on. Notice that Rich is wearing a blue shirt. So what Rich is doing here in Daytona, as the CEO of the most popular motorcycle company in the world, he's walking around, you know, no name tag on, walking up and down these streets, jammed with motorcycles, shaking people's hands, walking right up to them and saying, hi, I'm Rich from Harley Davidson. Thanks for buying our product. How can we make the experience better for you? Or going up to the guy on the competitive bike saying, what have we done wrong that hasn't got you onto our product? And some people, you know, would recognize, my God, it's Rich Teerlink, the CEO, and they'd run up and get their picture taken. Most people didn't. He was another employee. More interesting, though, and more important, and the reason I'm telling you this, is what's going on behind the lens of the camera taking this picture. Now, there were 1,200 employees at Harley Davidson in 1985. There's over 7,000 now. So they're all going out to these events, these major events and rallies, staffed by hundreds and hundreds of employees. How are employees reacting when they see the president of the company walking around actively shaking people's hands? What do? They begin to mirror that behavior because you know what? That's not the desired behavior at Harley Davidson. That's the expected behavior. This is who we are and what we do. We cannot stand back and wait for people to come to us. Let's go approach them and begin to develop a relationship. People like that. Employees get energized by that. Employees come back, they can't begin to explain what a great feeling that is. Talking to customers, that's what we do. Same thing in your business. Harley Davidson is absolute living proof that employees mirror the behavior of their leaders. When Harley Davidson was a build and ship, let's build product, let's ship product, that's just what we did. And we saw what happened. Bang, you got to know what business you're in. I had the really, really distasteful task of being on the benchmark committee at Harley Davidson for years, and other companies have come into benchmark. The car companies, the computer companies, the soda, the beer company, the food companies all come in. Everybody looking for that silver bullet. If they could take just one little kernel of knowledge, boy, if we could just take what you're doing, Harley Davidson, our business, wouldn't it be great? And we would always ask, well, what business are you in? Well, we sell cars. The hell you do? People aren't buying cars, are they? They're not buying trucks. Guess what? They're not buying motor homes. They're not buying manufactured homes. They're not buying trailers either. They're buying something else. There's something that resides on the right side of the brain. The statement. People buy brands for a reason. People buying a Fleetwood, they're buying it for a reason because it's what it says about them. Right? That's what brands are. I want to be noticed. I want to be seen owning the best. That says something about me. So is that what that person is buying? Is the person buying a car or a can of soda or a pack of cigarettes? What business are you in? It's not enough to meet customer expectations. We have to exceed customer expectations, but you know what? We can't do that unless we know what the customer wants. And we have to ask them in order to do that. But when we exceed their expectations, they don't notice. So we have to tell them, you wanted it next year, we're giving it to you this year. You wanted it in purple starburst, we're giving it to you purple, red, and orange starburst. And continue and continue and continue to drive away on the point that we are about understanding and exceeding your expectations. Because when you meet someone's expectations, guess what happens? Absolutely nothing. And you know it. We all do. Go into Burger King, you order a Whopper, guess what? You get it. You go tell your friends about it the next day? Somebody exceeds your expectations and have made a very, very visible effort to do so. You're going to remember that and you're going to tell somebody. That's the beauty of exceeding expectations. Ask people what they want. This is my favorite one of all. Everybody just stop communicating. What's every company in the world say? What does every dealer network of every company say? The communication is bad. So what do we need? We need more. We need more memos. We need more mail coming from the factory. And guess what? Companies respond and they do that and the mail doesn't get read or the people don't get the message or they don't understand it because they get so much already. Do we all want to get more mail and more emails and more phone calls? No, it's not about communicating. It's about making the connection. It's about making more of an effort to channel our energy and our human and financial resources where they're going to be the most successful. If the way we're going to be most successful with people is to sit down and talk with them, let's go do that versus blanketing them with stuff and hoping that they're going to read it. People might read it, but they won't remember it. But they remember it when you tell it to them personally, when you connect, when you make it very obvious that the reason we're having this discussion is I want to understand you better and help serve you better so that I can exceed your expectations and continuously delight you so that you'll tell other people that you'll like us more. That's what connecting is all about. That's why Harley Davidson is successful. It connects with its dealer network. It connects with its customers throughout the world because it has the physical presence and the desire to do that. Which brings me to the next point. What I talked about at Sturgis is not just enough to know who your customers are. You have to go where they are. And that includes potential customers out there. We have Harley Davidson dealerships today. If you'd have told me this 10 years ago, I'd have laughed in your face. We've got Harley Davidson dealers that sponsor Little League teams, local orchestras, opera, chamber music. Harley dealers. Why are they doing that? Because it makes them more visible in the community. It puts that dealer in the environment with people who might one day consider buying a motorcycle, but who haven't been comfortable enough yet to take the step. And they know the guy on a first-name basis. Boy, I want to buy a product from somebody that I know and trust. That's what happens the more visible and the more active you get in the local community. There's lots of ways to do it. Dealers setting up programs in their local high schools to train mechanics, providing tools to do that. So when the guy graduates, guess where he wants to go work? At the Harley dealership. And guess what? There's a shortage of mechanics. Bang, get out there and plant those seeds. Show and then tell. Show and then tell. Show and then tell. Remember what I said? People react to what they see. Right? And the more we have an opportunity to tell people, we should take it. But any opportunity we have to actually show them how we do, or what we do, and how it's different, or why it's different, we should. I've driven RVs. I drove a 42-foot luxury motorhome out to Sturgis, South Dakota, 5 years ago with 8 of my buddies in the back. What's the first thing people do when they step inside an RV? Oh, my God. I had, no idea they were so nice. You ever hear that? Holy cow. Can I use the bathroom? It's a huge eye-opener. Am I going to get that same reaction by telling people, oh, you should see the inside, how nice it is? They might half believe it, but nothing makes it more believable, more memorable than when it becomes visual. I see it. I touch it. I feel it. I know what it's about. Any opportunity to get your employees involved with customers should become a top priority. Employees at all levels of the company, finance people, people from the mailroom, the mechanics in the back. The responsibility of talking to customers does not lie with the sales guy, the guy behind the parts counter, or the marketing guys. It should become everyone's job. Because employees begin to understand what their job is and what it represents more and begin to like their job more when they understand who they're there to serve. And they're ultimately there to serve the customer. When they begin to know customers on a first-name basis, life becomes a little bit more fun for employees. It becomes more social. People want to be social? Why do chat rooms exist on the internet so people can talk? Because guess what? We're all invisible and nobody talks to us. Bang. Let your employees start doing that. Let them feel better about what they're doing. Boy, I'm getting preachy up here. Hey, bam! Complaints are compliments. You know what I heard this mentioned yesterday at the sales meeting? A lot of people don't want to hear complaints. We didn't know how to handle complaints at first. You know, the phone would ring and there'd be somebody broken down on a freeway somewhere. We didn't know what, and you know, not in the best of moods, we didn't know what to do. What we began to learn, and what was being discussed yesterday at the sales meeting, is that complaints are the ultimate compliment because they're telling you what you're doing wrong. They're telling you where expectations have not been met. They're helping you to become a more successful business person. Ask people to tell you what you've done wrong. Because a lot of people have it built up inside and they're just waiting to let it out, but they don't. How could we serve you better? I know we're doing a good job. Is there anything else that we could do that would make you like us more or that would make you tell your friends about us? Get those complaints, that negative feedback. It's glorious. Neatness counts, and Harley Davidson's living proof of that. Why? Because people who don't know what your brand is or know what your brand represents, they know as soon as they enter your retail environment, the first human being that they talk to in that dealership. So if I arrive at a Harley Davidson dealership, I know as soon as I've arrived what the Harley Davidson brand represents and what it's all about. That employee, that dealer, that dealership shop employee, everyone in that store has been trained and understands very clearly that they are Harley Davidson or that they are Fleetwood. Because the way you speak, the way you react, what that environment looks like defines your brand and how people feel about you. Word of mouth absolutely rules. Every Harley Davidson motorcycle that's sold is sold by another Harley Davidson customer. Keeping them active with the hog chapters, with the major events, active and involved and excited and feeling good about themselves. What do these people do? They get to work on Monday after going out to a hog rally over the weekend. They stand by the coffee machine. And what'd you do this weekend? Oh, I laid on my butt and watched TV. I mowed the lawn. What did you do? Oh, man, I went out with the hog chapter. We met up with another hog chapter. There were 600 of us. We had music. We had great food. The guys from Harley were there. There was a fashion show. You know, Willie Nelson came out and played. It was a riot. You should join us. Bing. It works. The active and involved customer who's happy and satisfied will recruit friends to come and join them and do it with them. Passion grows when passion is shared. And you know what? Regardless of who you are or how you run your business, we all know in our lives people who are passionate and enjoy what they do. Because passionate people tend to be the happier people that very, very visibly want to engage you and make you feel good about yourselves and make you feel good about being, you know, in their presence. Right? We've all worked for people, you know, that walk like this, you know, the head of the department, you know, he's a real negative guy or he's a dullard, you know, and he's never happy about anything and he never has anything good to say about anybody and, you know, life is just torture. We all know those people. How much time do we want to spend with them? What kind of example, you know, do they set? Versus the passionate guy who really likes what he's doing or the passionate gal who loves what she's doing and is very, very obviously making every effort to understand how I could make your life better. I want to understand you. I want you to be happy. I want you to tell all your friends about what we did for you here. Wow. People will react to that. People react to that, and your employees will see that. And as you share that passion, they'll begin to mirror that as well. Because Harley Davidson, living proof, passion grows when it's shared. People love the experience so much that they go out and tell their friends or refer them to dealers. Harley Davidson employees recruiting other employees. You got to come and join this and be part of it. Passion grows when it's shared, and I would challenge all of you to make that passion that's inside of you that you know that you all have as visible and obvious as possible, and just watch the way people react to that. Harley Davidson is living proof. Final point that I want to make today. Final point. Talked about a lot of reasons why Harley Davidson is successful, and there's lots of them. Being very, very involved with customers, engaging them in conversations, developing relationships at a personal level, listening when they talk to us, reacting, exceeding their expectations, and telling them why we're doing that we're exceeding what they asked for, and that their pleasure in life, you know, is our greatest joy. making these people happy. Begin doing that, and other companies will look at that and say, boy, we want to do that too. And what I'm here to tell you today is please don't model your business after Harley Davidson. But that's not why I'm here. I'm saying, model your business the way you want to, the way you know it should be. Like the offset crank pin in that motorcycle. It makes a different sound, and you know what? It's different for a reason. When the motorcycle industry turns right, Harley Davidson turns left. Japanese motorcycles go to fiberglass and all kinds of electronics and LED readouts. Harley Davidson puts a big honking digital speedometer in there because that's what people like. And that's what they tell us. Industry goes right, Harley Davidson goes left. We at Harley Davidson, all of us who have worked and continue to work for Harley Davidson Motor Company, don't care how everyone else does it. We make a different noise. We do it on purpose. My challenge to you is you shouldn't care while your competitors are doing it. You shouldn't care how the guy up the street is doing it. Do it your way. Does that say we don't care how everyone else does it? Okay, it says how. Just be different. Be different for a reason, right? Be that offset crank pin. Make that noise. Let people see your passion. Let them see how visibly different you are, and that you're different for a reason, that you enjoy what you do, that you love what you do, that you love making people happy, that you go out and use the product yourself. There's nothing more fun to do than go out and actually use these things. This is what our product, this is what our lifestyle is all about. This is who we are. I don't care what the guy up the street's telling you. This is how we do it here. Thanks very much, ladies and gentlemen. Have a great meeting.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to join us back here at 12 noon for a special lunch with Ned, Dale, and Jason Jarrett. There are note cards on your table to pose questions to them. Please leave your questions on your table or drop them in the black boxes at the back of the room. There will be some great prizes.